Welcome to so many friends of the Medical Center. It is touching to see all of you here. Thank you for being here. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the dedication of the School of Medicine Education Building for the University of Mississippi Medical Center. In Mississippi, we love our stories. And you can't get too far into a conversation with somebody at the medical center without hearing a story of Pancratz or Marsden or Guyton or Hardy, Bauer, Batson, Shirley, Cruz, Courier, Barnes, and many others. Today is a day from which stories will be born. Having been here many years, I have a deep appreciation for our buildings, all of our buildings, including our older buildings, and the history that goes with them. To me, the stories of the events that occurred are intertwined with the physical space in which they happened. The buildings are part of the story. As I look around today at this magnificent building, I can't help but remember the story that I have been told of the words spoken by Mississippi Governor Hugh White in 1955 at the dedication of the Medical Center, and I quote, "As a 50-year dream at last reaches reality, a glorious chapter is beginning in the education history of Mississippi." Today, we start a new story and a new chapter, and the authors of that story are all around us as you look up on the balconies. There are a few special guests with us today that I would like to recognize. The Commissioner of the IHL, Dr. Glenn Boyce, and our IHL board members who are with us today, Ford Dye, Shane Hooper, Doug Rouse, and Walt Starr. Members of the legislature who authorized $64 million in bond funding for this project. Tina Hines and Chuck Dearman with Mississippi Development Authority, which directed $10 million in community development block grant funding for the site for infrastructure. The executive director, Glenn McCullough and Darren Wilson, could not be with us today. Gray Oots with Central Mississippi Planning and Development District, which administered the grant. Matt Holloman with the Heron Foundation, which has helped fund our fabulous simulation center. Shauna Cook and Teresa Anderson of the UMMC Alliance, who have partnered with the Manning Family Fund to outfit the Operation Simulation Center. Architects Rob Farr with CDFL and Jim Ely with Ely Guild Hardy and their talented associates who heard our stories and literally brought them out of the ground. Chris Mansour, representing our builder, Roy Anderson Corporation, representatives from the State Bureau of Buildings, and the many subcontractors who are listed in your program. It would be impossible to touch on all the members of our internal team who contributed to where we are today because there are hundreds, but a few that deserve a special mention. The ones who kept their eye on the ball: Jonathan Wilson, Patrick Casey, Ivory Bogan, Coleman Bond, Brian Walker, and Mr. Mundy. Members of our internal steering committee who met weekly for many weeks in the planning and design of the building. meeting with the architects. Doctors Loretta Jackson, Jerry Clark, Bill Lushbaugh, Brian Rutledge, and Jack Correa. And I want to say a thank you to my own family who's here with me today. My husband, John, and 3 of my children are with me today. Now, finally, there are a few additional special guests that I want to recognize, but first it is important that you hear their story, because this is, in part, the story of the beginning of the medical center. In the spring of 1950, the legislature was debating whether or not to build a new academic medical center in the state's capital in Jackson. This involved moving the 2-year medical school that was located in Oxford to Jackson, expanding it to a 4-year degree-granting school, and building a teaching hospital to support the clinical mission. This was an expensive proposition for a poor state. The issue was stuck in a House committee where the vote was deadlocked. Suddenly, in what I can imagine to be high drama fashion, the legislator that would cast the deciding vote entered the committee room. Zelma Wells Price of Greenville had been injured in a car wreck, literally entered the committee room on a stretcher flat on her back, and cast the deciding vote to send it to the House floor. The fight was not over. On the floor of the House, there was still much debate and much opposition. A freshman legislator named Blaine Eaton, who has been described as a country boy from Taylorsville. Some of you have heard me to say, I'm from Carroll County, I am a country girl. It does my heart good when a country boy comes through. But a country boy gave what then legislator and later Governor William Winter described, and I quote, one of the finest speeches I've ever heard in support of the bill. Eaton declared, they say we can't afford a 4-year medical school. They say we can't do this. I say we can't afford not to have the 4-year school. And the energy and enthusiasm and the inspiration of his speech then led to a vote which resulted in the University of Mississippi Medical Center appropriation bill. The rest is history. Today, I am delighted that we are joined by members of these families. We have Blaine Eaton's grandson, Bo Eaton, and his sisters here with us today, and we have family members of Judge Zelma Wells Price, Neely Carlton Lyons, a former state senator herself and Butler Snow attorney, and her mother, Frances Carlton, is here with her. Please welcome them. I love that all these years later, at a moment when we are focused so rightly on the hopes and the dreams of the future, that history is all around us and is a part of this day. It reminds me, in fact, that we are doing something important, something enduring, something that matters to people, and something that future stories are made of. As you walk through the building later this morning, several themes will resonate. This building fills a long-standing need for a modern home for medical education. It will support contemporary teaching modalities, small group space, technology-driven education, state-of-the-art simulation, interprofessional education opportunities. The expanded facilities will allow us to continue to grow the class size, which means more doctors for Mississippi. More physicians for Mississippi means a greater economic impact in the communities in which they practice, Governor. More physicians in the communities working with other health care providers in community health centers and clinics and hospitals means ultimately our vision of a healthier Mississippi. And last but not least, this building is a living testament and a tribute to all the friends and the supporters, all of you in this room who have gotten us to this day. So to all of you, from us, from all the people lining the stairwell, we say a heartfelt thank you. Now I will ask Dr. Chaplain Whitaker to please come and lead us in the invocation.
Almighty God, we thank you for your presence here today. This is a great day that you have made. We are rejoicing and we are glad. Thank you for the spirit of service and community and the spirit of excellence that resides here. Bless this institution, its great leaders, as they train physicians to deliver skilled, equitable health care to all citizens of Mississippi, the region, and our nation. May this School of Medicine be forever rooted and grounded in the medical landscape of the future through its scientific, medical, and technological contributions. Bless the University of Mississippi Medical Center to be a beacon of hope and health perpetually. Amen.
Thank you, Doris. Next, I'd like to introduce Dr. Jeffrey Vitter, the 17th Chancellor of the University of Mississippi. He is a passionate advocate for higher education, and we are delighted to have him with us today. Dr. Vitter.
Thank you, Dr. Woodward, for that introduction. And Luann, especially, I want to thank you for your leadership, service, and commitment. We all owe you a tremendous debt of gratitude. So let's give Luann a great round of applause. Luann, you and your entire leadership team are providing tremendous guidance and direction for our medical center. I am so pleased to welcome everyone here today on behalf of the University of Mississippi. And I'm especially wanting to express my utmost thanks to the members of the IHL Board of Trustees and our Commissioner, Glenn Boyce, Representative Greg Harper, our Governor, Phil Bryant, Lieutenant Governor Tate Reeves, and members of the legislature, our excellent architects and builders, and to all those who have contributed in ways large and small to this incredible project. All of you have shown outstanding leadership and have been great champions of this effort, which will result in improving access to quality health care for residents of our great state of Mississippi. UMMC's impact on the status of health care and the economy in our state and region is remarkable. Our medical school is one of the crown jewels of our university. Among other roles, our medical school carries with it a large portfolio of research activity that contributes to our understanding of human health and disease. While important in its own right, the research conducted at our medical school is also a key contributor to the University of Mississippi's ranking in the top tier of research universities, the top 2.5%, as a Carnegie R1 highest research activity university. This new facility features state-of-the-art learning environments that are the envy of any medical school in the country. It will enable us to continue growing our class size and produce more physicians so crucially needed in Mississippi. And as a computer scientist myself, I am particularly excited that this new building has state-of-the-art computer simulation-enabled, a computer-enabled simulation center to give our students a head start on their medical careers. Future students in our state will have access truly to the very best resources any medical school has to offer. I continue to be impressed on a daily basis by the transformative work that's taking place here and by the service to the people of Mississippi, all of which results in a better and healthier place for all of us. This new facility will serve as a key component in growing our established track record of excellence and of achievement. So thanks to all of you who helped make it a reality, and to all who join us here today to celebrate this important milestone for our university and our state. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Vitter. Next, I'd like to call to the podium Dr. Ford Dye. He is a member of our Institutions of Higher Learning Board of Trustees, but he is also a graduate of both our medical school and residency program. Now in his 6th year on the IHL board, he is a practicing ear, nose, and throat specialist, and we are proud to call him one of our own. Ford.
I'm proud to be called one of our own. I'm pleased to bring greetings and congratulations from the Board of Trustees of the Mississippi Institutions of Higher Learning and Commissioner Glenn Boyce. From a perspective of a former medical student and resident who was here during the 90s, I look around at this building and realize my timing was bad. Our group of students was a nomadic bunch that would go from one area here for a lab, another area here for a classroom, but we never had a place to call home. You know, I'm thrilled our future medical students will be able to work in this state-of-the-art modern education facility. As a practicing physician, I'm also happy to know that we're going to be able to train more students here and more physicians because we need the help. And on behalf of the board, I want to thank Governor Bryant, Lieutenant Governor Reeves, our legislature for getting behind this project. I want to thank Dr. Woodward and her staff for seeing it to fruition. And I'm really honored to be here, and this is a great day for our state. I want to thank all of you.
A resident of Pearl, or maybe I would say a native of Pearl, Congressman Greg Harper is a true champion for us in Washington. He has been a real friend to the medical center, whether it is our efforts around rural health care, telemedicine, pediatric programs. He has been a wonderful champion and friend to the medical center. I'm delighted to ask Congressman Greg Harper to the podium.
Thank you, Dr. Woodward, and thank you, Chancellor Vitter, and congratulations to you both, to the IHL board, to all that are involved, from the state legislature to our governor, lieutenant governor, all of our statewide elected officials that have been fully behind it, because it is a team effort on what we have done. And I bring you greetings and congratulations from 2 United States senators who do an enormous amount of work for our state, Senator Roger Wicker, Senator Thad Cochran, and I thank them for their efforts as well in this process. And it is an honor to be here for this new addition, to look on the different landings and see the students are going to enjoy this incredible facility that we have here. It's amazing. And I hate to date myself. I was born at University Hospital when it was one building. And it opened in 1955, so it wasn't, okay, it was 1956. But I think about, I mean, it is in a perpetual building program. I've never been here when there wasn't something new being built and added to because of the vision and the leadership. And to think back 4 years on what has transpired since this began. So Dr. Keating, congratulations on being here during that time of vision, and everything that's taken place. We really know that in Mississippi, when we do have a shortage of primary care physicians, how we do things, expanding the opportunity for additional medical school students, telehealth, which we have worked on tirelessly, because of the leadership that UMMC has developed on this. I mean, University of Mississippi Medical Center has been the leading institution in the country on telemedicine. And I suspect years from now, when the next medical school is built here on this campus, that those will arrive in self-driving cars and all of the advancements. But the idea of government is to make sure that we don't have regulations that block innovation. And we have to make sure that we clear that path here. And I want to say this to all of our medical school students. There's no place like Mississippi. It is the greatest state to live in, to be in for your family. I hate to say this in a medical school, but we can fry anything. I mean, the food is phenomenal. But as you look at where to practice, as you look at where to finally settle down, remember, yeah, the financial rewards are important, but the quality of life is even more important, and there's no place better. God bless you.
Thank you, Congressman. If we stay on our current track, it'll be 60 years before the next medical school is open. So I don't think most of us will be here, but maybe some of the young ones in the room. That's right. So our next speaker this morning is Lieutenant Governor Tate Reeves. We are pleased to have him today and thankful for his support, thankful for our governor's support. Everybody in the room probably knows if you've got an idea you want the Lieutenant Governor to buy into, you better be able to talk to the economic impact of that idea. He's a hard sell, but what we have learned is that he is very willing to listen, and we really appreciate his support this last session on our Healthcare Collaboration Act. We're delighted that you're here with us today. Lieutenant Governor Tate Reeves.
Well, thank you, Dr. Woodward. I'm honored to be here. My notes said that I was to bring greetings from the Mississippi Legislature. I must admit, it's rare that I can come to you without, there are those who might tell you that I don't speak on their behalf of some of the 175 members from time to time. But in this particular instance, I am delighted to say that this is a project that had unanimous support. Whether you lived in the city of Jackson or in the metro area, or if you are a Republican or a Democrat in the Mississippi Legislature, this project had unanimous support in the Mississippi Legislature, and that's something I think that we can all be proud of. The fact is, everyone in the legislature recognized not only our need for filling more physician slots across the state of Mississippi, but also the fact that no matter where you come down on where we find ourselves in the healthcare space today, that in Mississippi and virtually every other state in our country, as baby boomers continue to age, we're going to need more healthcare professionals, not fewer healthcare professionals in our state. And this is one facility that our legislature has invested in. When we were talking with Dr. Woodward, with Dr. Keating early on, 4, 5, 6 years ago, they were very clear that they wanted to build a facility that would rival any medical school anywhere in the United States of America. And I believe that they have accomplished that goal. And the thing that I want to leave with you this morning, the thought that I'd like to leave with you this morning, is as you walk around the facility today, I don't want you to be surprised. I don't want you to be impressed. Because whether it is in the arena of K through 12 or in the arena of higher education, what I want all of you and everyone across Mississippi to do is I want you to expect facilities that can rival any facility anywhere in the world. Because I believe if we as a state, working with Governor Bryant and others in the legislature, continue to raise the level of expectations in our state, Mississippians will continue to rise up and meet those increased expectations. And so to the entire team who have done just that in this project, and to all of our students who are going to benefit from these facilities and ultimately are going to benefit each and every one of the 3 million Mississippians, let's work together to continue to make Mississippi a great place to raise a family. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Next, I'll call Jimmy Keating to the podium. As has been mentioned, the planning for this building and for this expansion actually started more than 10 years ago, before his tenure as Vice Chancellor. He was involved in that planning, but during his tenure as Vice Chancellor, when it came down to pushing the ball across the line, it was Jimmy's relationship with the governor and many other state leaders in the business world, in the community, the influential folks, many of you in this room. It was his relationships and his passion for this medical center that got us across that goal line. So I'd like to call to the podium our beloved former Vice Chancellor, Dr. Jimmy Keating.
I think perhaps I ought to just sit down. Wow, beloved. Wow, I've never had that one. So you've heard all this, and who would think you could have an emotion about a building, And you've heard the emotions from this group, and we'll hear from the governor, sure, about that, and the good things that are going to happen, and the health care is going to be improved in a state that certainly needs it. We have some tough health care disparity in this state. And that emotion will ring out all day long, and the joy of that. But I need to add one more emotion for you. Next week, the M1s will get here, the freshmen in medical school. They'll come into this building, the first ones that'll go all the way through. And let me tell you what their emotion is right now. Fear. They're smart, they wouldn't have gotten in. Top of their class type people, and yet they're going to hit a fire hose of data in the next year they've never seen in their life. And I don't care how smart they are, they're nervous. So there are two emotions that are going to occur here for quite some time. Now, I arrived here in 1961. I am the old man on the podium, and I was a 21-year-old from Columbus, Mississippi, went to Ole Miss, and this, when I arrived here in '61, was the original building. It's the biggest building I'd ever seen in my life, the most complex building. I really thought I had arrived, and I was scared, I must tell you. And there were 85 of us, and there were 40 faculty. There are over 700 faculty now, 3,000 students on this campus, not including the medical school. And so it was a totally different era, but I thought I was somebody, and I was scared. So I left here after my training. I went to England, went to the Navy, came back. I was a pediatric urologist, and I did that. And then in '03, I was asked to join the administrative staff of Dr. Dan Jones, who was the vice chancellor at that time. And that's when the talk started about we need more doctors, we need another building to do that. And so he put together a team of Dr. Woodward, Dr. Turner, Dr. Jackson, Dr. Clark, and they went across the United States looking at us. I was involved in the clinical care, so I was not on that team, but I did know it was important. And they came back to Dr. Jones and said, look, we got to have a bigger building. We can't do this without a more complex and better building. So we spent 5 or 6 years talking about this. Amazing how long it takes to do these sort of things. But if you hang in there, it works. We then found out we had to look for about $75 million. Now, that's a lot of cash from a little old boy in Columbus. And so we were going to the legislature and telling the legislature about patient care and taking care of people, and that rings a bell. I mean, we all feel that deep in our heart. But then we started talking about economic development, and we put together a team who did what the economic impact of this place was. And at that time, we found out it was billions of dollars of everybody we had trained and 50 to 60,000 jobs across the state of Mississippi, and we said, wow, we do something. I first showed that to Governor Barber. He bought into it for sure. We started showing that to the legislature, showing that to the whole legislative and executive staff, and it worked. They believed it, and it was true. About that time, Governor Bryant got ready to run for the governorship and came to see me, and he said, I want health care to be a big part of my platform. And we talked about obesity and teenage pregnancy and all that. I said, that's true, Governor, but to deliver that care, we got to have more docs and we got to have a building. And he bought that in a big way. And so we started getting the money, the planning grants you talked about, and then we started getting state bond money. And most of these buildings, y'all, are built with revenue bonds that we generate ourselves. We don't get state bond money as much because we're clinical in those other worlds in research. But this was a pure education building. So we were lucky enough to work our way to state bond. So in 2013, the governor said, Jimmy, we got to have a groundbreaking. I said, but Governor, we don't have all the money yet. And he said, and it was a cold day, and he said, I want a groundbreaking. I said, yes, sir, we're going to have it. So we brought a truck up here. Right here was a parking lot, put a bunch of dirt in the parking lot, and put a platform up, and we went out there and shoveled some dirt on a very cold, clear day, and we had a groundbreaking. But what he said to me as we were walking out to groundbreaking, he said, Jimmy, you worry about health care. I'll worry about money. And guess what? It worked. Governor, thank you, and please join us at the podium.
Thank you, beloved. He in fact is. I can say with certainty we would not be standing here today and dedicating this marvelous facility if it were not for Dr. Jimmy Keating. Jimmy, thank you. Chancellor Vitter, congratulations. You are here as Chancellor of the University of Mississippi during this remarkable time, and you have the good fortune of having Dr. Woodward work for you. She is a leader. When Jimmy Keating came to me and said, I am about to move on, I think it is time for me to semi-retire. But he said, Luann Woodward is the key to the future of this. She is the physician. She is the woman with dedication and determination that can lead the future. And Dr. Woodward, we thank you so much for what you have done for all of Mississippi. To Congressman Harper, thank you so much for being here and always being supportive of everything that we do. He believes in Mississippi in his heart and his soul, and the Lord has given him a passion for accomplishment. To the Lieutenant Governor. Now, I have been Lieutenant Governor, and when most people come into your office, they have a desire, and it's usually something you may not be able to fulfill. As I went into the Lieutenant Governor's office with Jimmy Keating, and we began to talk about this great challenge of funding a medical school, a new medical school, this Lieutenant Governor stepped to the forefront, and he led. Leaders are rare commodities. This is a leader, and along with the Speaker of the House, began to help form a vision for the revenue that was needed so that we might be able to build this medical school of the future. Mr. Lieutenant Governor, thank you. To the IHL Board, members of the legislature, members of statewide leadership, thank you for being here today. I want to thank the great First Lady that allows me each day to go to work and try to express my passion for the people of the state of Mississippi. I could not do it without her. Thank you. Thank you, baby. I have long hoped that my time as governor would result in some benefit to the people of this great state. I've never desired monuments or namesakes or honors built of brick and mortar. My prayer has been to, in some small way, leave the future generations a historic challenge to help construct a pathway to the possibility of greatness, knowing that no man or woman who serves can achieve for themselves anything greater than the next generation can surpass. That actually should be the satisfaction of our momentary time in positions of leadership. Today, I see that pathway. This remarkable building will be filled with students who are endowed with the seeds of greatness. They will be the apostles of St. Luke, the physician. Their ultimate ability will result in aiding the ill, the hurt, the afflicted, who have upon their lips the prayer of healing. Those that pass through these cherished halls will depart with a gift far greater than any governor could ever pretend to possess. They will have the near divine ability to give life and healing, to make the blind see, and the lame walk again, to return loved ones to families filled with desperation. There are many who will and should claim credit for this historic occasion, but the truth of today's event belongs to Almighty God. He has blessed this gathering with a celebration of His goodness and love. None of us can imagine who shall answer the call that beckons to the young man or woman who will accomplish the great task delivered to each that choose this path. We can only realize today the journey has begun. It is now set before them. Today we witness a bright new center for the future physicians that will dedicate themselves to the cause of medical advancement. We will depart knowing that we have done our best to provide these select few the best facility for their learning and the greatest opportunity available for their success. Let this be our consolation for all our dedication. May the great physician of the universe now guide their journey, and may we find contentment in that reality. God bless you all for being here today, and God bless you for your future achievements. Thank you.
Wow. Such touching comments, such wonderful words. Thank you. Thank you so much. Next, I'd like to call to the podium Dr. Loretta Jackson. She is our Vice Dean for Medical Education in the medical school. She and I go way back to the days of us both full-time practicing emergency medicine. And when you think about stories, let me tell you, we could tell some stories. But unless something really goes wrong in the next few minutes, this is not the right day for emergency department stories. So, Loretta, will you please join me?
Good morning. I have to say welcome to this historical day in the School of Medicine. As Vice Dean for Medical Education, I was part of the first group to have the opportunity to move into this building. My office is right around that corner. And I have primary responsibility for taking care of it. I want to assure each of you that the faculty and students will make very good use of this building with all of the updated educational space and the technology. Over the course of the next 50 years or so, we are going to deliberately wear it out, training class after class of new doctors and healthcare teams for this state of Mississippi. In addition, we will be using the space to show the region and the nation the great work that is done in medical education right here in our state. We've already agreed to host an upcoming meeting of the Association of American Medical Colleges Southern Group on Medical Education in April. And that meeting draws individuals from all over the southern region and the country. We're already proud of this building, and we thank each of you for entrusting it to our care. We're also happy to be able to share these facilities with our new and returning students who have options for where they could attend medical school, but made the choice to stay here. We're confident that this building and its amenities, that we will be able to provide a great value for the tuition and fees that they pay to attend school. Additionally, we're excited to share all of this with each of you on this day. Johnny Lippincott, who is a current senior student and president of his class, will come and now provide the student perspective of this new building.
Good morning. On behalf of my classmates and schoolmates in the School of Medicine, thank you. Thanks to all of y'all who have brought us to this moment. That includes Vice Chancellor Woodward, Dr. Keating, Chancellor Vitter, as well as Dr. Dan Jones, our elected officials, some of whom are in attendance, Congressman Harper, Lieutenant Governor Reeves, and Governor Bryant, thank you. And also, I'd like to give a special thanks to our Vice Dean of the Office of Medical Education, Dr. Jackson, as well as our Vice Dean of Student Affairs, Dr. Jerry Clark. Dr. Clark and Dr. Jackson sought out the perspective of us students, myself, but also this has been a 10-year project, so students over the past 10 years, to get our feedback on what we thought was important to the school. So thank you all very much for that. Most importantly, thank you to the people of Mississippi. Without your hard work, this splendid new home for the School of Medicine would have been impossible. We medical students have the great honor of training to care for the suffering and to try to bring them peace. Our charge will include making difficult decisions that will affect our patients' health and happiness. These decisions will rest on our fund of knowledge, everything we know about the human body. At this stage, as medical students, our job is to build this fund of knowledge, to lay a rock-solid foundation upon which we can recognize what disease ails our patients, what medicine might improve their condition. How do we build this foundation? By studying, by lots of studying. Med students at the beginning of medical school are like caterpillars, but instead of eating leaves like a caterpillar does, medical students consume textbook pages. It's really all we do at the beginning. Somewhat nervously, as Dr. Keating alluded to. At the beginning of the first year, there's a whole butterfly garden of text. There's the Gray's Anatomy shrub. There's the Lippincott's biochemistry bush, no relation. And there's the Guyton and Hall hedge, which we all know well here, Drs. Guyton and Hall being from the University of Mississippi. And day by day, we consume these pages. Second year comes along, and we keep consuming pages, right? About halfway through the second year, we students enter our cocoons. Ask anyone to find an M2 caterpillar in the springtime, and you can't do it. That's because we're tucked away preparing for a national board examination that is the milestone en route to morphing into a mature upperclassman or upperclass woman who can then fly over to the hospital across the street and spend more time seeing patients and pollinating our knowledge with clinical experience. Like growing caterpillars, our environment is integral to our success. Caterpillars need trees and bushes to grow, and we need a place to study. This magnificent new school will literally make a world of difference in our ability to become excellent doctors for Mississippi and beyond. We have never had so much or such stately space or resources. By space, I mean our clinical training facilities, our study rooms, and our new student lounge. Also, as a lankier classmate, I also mean literal legroom in the new lecture halls. This space will be well served as my junior classes continue to swell in rank. With all this natural light, I can actually envision this as a butterfly garden, with students consuming knowledge and flying towards clinical excellence. I made a light analogy, as this is a celebratory day, but comported with the symbolic honor bestowed upon us via this outstanding school is a responsibility of the utmost gravity. We take our charge seriously, and we are sincerely grateful for being given such a beautiful academic garden in which to morph and flourish. While this day may be about us, as this is the School of Medicine for medical students, we all know that at the end of the day, this is all that we do for our future patients, the people of Mississippi, America, and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you, Johnny. I have great optimism and confidence in the future of healthcare and healthcare delivery for Mississippi because of our students like Johnny. We are so proud of our students. They are wonderful individuals. I would like for us to give all of our students in the building a round of applause. Before we move to do the official ribbon cutting, I'd like to invite you to take a few minutes and tour the building. It is magnificent. We are not doing official guided tours. However, there are many students and staff available on every level and in every nook and cranny. So if you would like somebody to be a tour guide for you, just ask them and they will be more than happy to do so. They are around to answer your questions and to help you see all the parts of this fabulous building. We have refreshments on the floor just above us, and also on that floor is the extraordinary legacy wall. I hope you will take a moment to take a look at that. It recognizes the history of the medical center and our early heroes, those who made it possible to be where we are today. So again, I thank you all for being here. I thank you for coming to this event. I thank you all for making this longtime dream a reality and for the future good it will do. I thank you for all being a part of our story, and we are ready now to move to the next glorious chapter of medical education in Mississippi. Thank you.